Welcome back to Light Talk, where the paranormal and the supernatural is a part of our everyday lives. We have such a special guest for you guys tonight. I'm excited to get started. So I am going to welcome her to the show. So welcome to the show, and go ahead, introduce yourself.
Well, my name is June Ahern, and although I'm retired from private practice, I stay really involved, how I could not stay involved with the paranormal, the parapsychology, metaphysical, all of that. It's been my whole life for over 50 years. And it really did probably start at home thinking differently than other people because my mother used to read our tea leaves before she sent us off to our little nuns at the Catholic school. And she was into dreams and had a belief. She had this sense where she could dream about things that were going to happen. So I wasn't new to it. But when I got into a car accident in 1970 and had a near-death experience, my whole life changed. And nothing I expected of my life started to happen. I began to, after the accident, it took a long time to recover. I started to know things about people without them ever telling me, even strangers. And I started having visitations from people that had already passed away. And so my life just developed from there, and I became involved and did many readings for a lot of years. I taught classes and ESP at all kinds of events. I wrote books. It just as though I led on. So what I am doing now in my most retirement is that I want to share with people. And nowadays it's so much more open that people can talk about near-death experiences. You know, when I had a near-death experience, you did not talk about, oh, I went to the other side, I saw a bunch of spirits and God sent me back. They would say, okay, not farm for you. And so it wasn't until about 1978, 79 when a book, Life After Life came out. Um, Things were still not very openly talked about. Nowadays, people talk about intuition, they talk about seeing spirits, communicating, and I feel that it's at this time of my life, it's important that to me that I answer questions from people who wonder why it happened, how it happens, and how can it continue to happen? How can they be comfortable with it? And what do they do with this heightened sense of intuition, with this talking to spirits, with the belief that they may even have contact with aliens, people from, not of this planet. How can I assure them that it's okay, but how do you fit it into your life and where does it belong and what can you do with it? And that's what I really do talk to people about now. Not that you have to feel that you're so different, but you have particular kind of insights or experiences that if in some way I can make it rational and logical to you, then that's my job at this particular time of my life before I leave this planet.
That's a lot to do. There's still a lot of people out there that are still in that, what's going on? Am I crazy and yeah, and that's why the show, so we can help them through those times.
Because
So
you can really suffer if you are not aware of. I have an ESP test and I made it years ago, God, years ago, but I put it into two of my books at the end of the book as a chapter. And it's to show people how they are relating intuitively to the world. And everybody has their own unique way. Some may be telepathic, but they may be hearing it. Before if you tell people, I'm hearing voices, they're like, oh, or I'm seeing things that aren't there. Or
yeah.
we hear a lot about empaths now, empathic. I'm empathic. And I'm not sure if people quite really understand what that means. So again, it's important for me to give somebody comfort through education. And by not encouraging people to take what's happening and set themselves so different from others or feel they cannot relate to others. Because there's a whole lot of us. There's a whole lot of
Yeah.
us out there, and you could be with your tribe.
Right, right. And there is, our tribe is growing, and there's a lot of us out there, even, I mean, I run into people all the time. Oh, yeah, I've had an experience in blah, 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 blah. It is like, it's everywhere. It's
It's everywhere.
everywhere.
I was at here where I live. There's a historical castle. It had been a home. It was built like a castle, uh, 1907. It was like that. And there was a woman I was working with. There was a music event, and I was volunteering so I could just be there. I've done a paranormal investigation there. It's very active. And she didn't know that I had done that. And she said to me, I have to tell you, when I'm here, and I really can't talk to anybody about this, but I had something that wasn't there touching my hair. I said, oh, yeah, that's the one down in the kitchen where she goes, yeah, how do you know that? She says, I can't talk to anybody about this. I said, well, you could talk to me about it. I said, do you know I did an investigation? She says, no, I don't. I just met her that day at that event, but she felt she could come up and tell me this. So we talked about, yeah, that's okay because lots of people who have come here have felt that particular spirit, or that's, I should say, that particular spirit has made herself known.
There you go. Yeah, it's really, really crazy. I've felt one once.
Only
Uh,
once? Well,
Yes.
we'll send you some.
Okay. A little bit, yeah. I felt it at it's like the hand went down my arm,
Oh, there you
and that
go.
was it.
That would be a relative.
A
Most
relative?
likely that was a
Okay.
relative. Yeah, probably on a grandfather, on a father's side.
On the father's side. Because of the left side?
No,
Or
just because that's what I
just
picked up.
because? Oh, okay. On the father's side. Hmm,
And it may not even
okay.
be a grandfather, it could be a great grandfather. That's what I'm feeling, it's somebody older.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, could be a grandfather.
Yeah, on that side.
Yeah. I never met him. So, well, I was a year old when he passed. So maybe,
Yeah, just coming
maybe.
by.
Okay.
You know, there are times spirits don't come by with any big message. They just come by. They just kind of float past, and they just letting you know that, hey, I saw you, or I'm here, or I'm attracted to your energy. So maybe he's attracted to your energy. It has to do with windows. It has to do with window drapery, curtains, or something that has to do with doing something around windows. Maybe you're planning on extending your windows or doing something with windows or the house, the outside of the house.
We did get new windows.
Oh, there you go. There you go. And maybe he how to do this, or he had planned that, or that was something that had been in his life.
Okay. Well, awesome. I knew it was
Yeah,
I felt it as a male, male
yeah, well, there you
energy,
go.
but
Yeah,
yeah. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
yeah. I tell people it's not uh, really difficult if for to be aware because it's all about vibration. That's what it is. It's vibrating creates this energy. And all you have to do is think about music. It's the easiest thing. How does music affect you? When you're listening to music or you feel it, my understanding is that people that are deaf can feel the music from the bottom of their feet. They feel it. They feel the drums, they feel the lighter music. So their body responds to it. Just think of when we respond to music. We
Yeah.
physically respond to it. If it's really cool music, we have a tendency to drive a
Yeah.
little bit like this. If it's really
Right.
yeah, we can't help it. Yeah, if it's really romantic to us, something we start going, oh yeah, I remember when. So music, and it's a vibration. Musical instruments create vibrations.
Hmm.
Spirits are vibrations. You see?
Yeah.
It's not
Yep.
really difficult. It's understandable. It's how we relate to it and what does it mean in our life and what does it contribute to our life. I do paranormal investigations with the Haunted Bay. You can see them on YouTube. And I've watched different paranormal TV, programs, and
Right.
and the ones that go, oh my God, something's here. I think, why are you doing this then? If you're
I
going to be a
agree.
why are you doing this? And it's
Yeah.
really theatrics. That's what it comes down to. I mean, I don't know if they have particular abilities. I'm not going to say. It's not for me to say. But I do know that if I felt that way, and there were very few, but there was a couple of, well, more than a few couples that I did where I felt like, oh man, because I don't scare easy from paranormal activity. Um, most of it's really pretty mundane. No, I can't say mundane. It's interesting, but it's not like a heightened thing where you should ever feel afraid. And that's what I want to teach people. If you do really feel frightened, then that's not something you should engage yourself with. And there are ways to, if you cannot stop it, you could slow it down.
Right. Right. I'm working towards that right now. So I'm looking towards doing the PIs, and but I want to have the right person with me so that I can be trained on good, bad, how to work with it, how to, get more seasoned with it.
Yeah.
So I know
How
what
do
to
you
do.
energy like that? Are you visionary, clairvoyant? Are you clear audio? Are you clairsentient? What is your sense that comes up to you first?
I'm clairvoyant, but I just always I'm very intrigued in all of that side of it. I'm
Yeah.
very intrigued. It's here lately, it's like all I can think about is doing an investigation and learning more about the cryptids. And it's just like on top of my list right now. It's like every time
Well,
I go to
go
some.
to graveyards. They're great places.
I
Uh,
do have a graveyard nearby.
yeah, any place I go, if I'm traveling or whatever, I always say, okay, where's the cemeteries? Where's the graveyards?
Yeah. So you would suggest that the
Well,
cemeteries?
that's one place. That's one place. You might want to, you know, to begin with, you could take perhaps a ghost tour. Some are really good, some are not so great, So, and decide for yourself what you're picking up before you're told what's there. Part of it is having a little bit of fun with it and seeing and testing yourself. I still test myself just for the fun of it, I just test myself because I enjoy what I do and I'm aware of energy. But so a ghost tour, a well-planned ghost tour, again, you'd have to probably look at your area, what's happened, and read the reviews and see how it is. When I've done the ghost tours, just for fun, usually it's a friend that wants me to go. Oh, let's go here. I decide before I go, I make a note of it. And when I'm there and they start talking or we get to that location, I pick it up my own self and I decide this is what I'm picking up here. And then the tour guide, will tell what's going on there. And oftentimes I'll ask people, are you picking anything up or what do you pick up? And people are on it because they want to be a part of it. I mean, that's the reason they're going because they want to see if they pick something up.
Yeah,
For these groups, yeah.
yeah, I've been on one ghost tour, and I didn't feel anything, but I did pick up a couple things on my camera,
Oh, you did? Well,
pictures. Yeah.
that's good. That's not easy.
Yeah, I got something in the mirror, like a face in the mirror.
Wow,
And
that's
yeah,
really
yeah. And then I wasn't quite sure about it, but we were underground, so it was all dark.
okay.
And the only lights that we had was the guide's flashlight and the the EMF,
Oh, the
the
MF.
lights on that. So it would, and those aren't very bright. So it's nothing that would light up a whole room. But in my some of my pictures, the whole room was all green. The whole room was green. So there was a lot of green lights that were there, but wasn't there. So I'm
And
told that's
just
something.
wondering if that had to do with the lights they were using. I like to look at things logically. I don't right away jump to anything. I like it to, like people say, oh, I have orbs. I have that. Well, sometimes orbs come from the lighting in the camera, or, you might pick up dust on something. So I like to kind of break it down, see what is logical and what is reasonable with this. Although it's just fun to have ghost experiences. Well, to me, it's
Right.
fun. Unless it's a hard thing. I've worked on murder cases with the police, and that's not fun. People go, "Oh, wow, that's exciting." No, it's not exciting at
But
all.
necessary. I think it's
It's
very
sad,
important.
it's sad, it's frightening to be able to witness a murder taking place, even if it is in your head, because you're feeling the emotions. But most of it uh, is almost entertainment at first.
Yeah.
You want to contact, and I think tours are fun, and they could be helpful to people who confirm that, yeah, they are picking something up. I had to look out. I went to hear a man talk who had a popular show. He was I think, a producer director of this particular ghost show. It was real popular on television. I can't remember the name of it because I don't really watch a whole lot of them. But I did go to his lecture. He was down here at our local library giving a talk, and he talked about. Remember the little tape recorders? They were real little mini ones. Or are you too young?
Uh-huh. No,
Okay.
no, I remember them.
Okay. So, because I used to tape all of the only choice was to make tapes of all my readings. So I had a bigger one, but I had a smaller one. And when he said that those were the best for picking up the sounds, the messages from spirits, they don't know why, but that was what worked better. So I had to, of course,
Right.
dig through all my boxes and I put it away. I don't know where I could find little tapes that would go in it anymore. I happened to have a medium friend. Her father was a detective in the police force, and he had tapes, because they used those. So I haven't had a chance to really work it out at anything. I've been dying to do it. I've went on a few things, but I always forgot it. But they say those are the best. So if anybody has those little mini recorders and you have tapes for it, and you go on a tour or on your own to a building, what buildings are good? Schools, hospitals are really good,
Oh, yeah.
especially if you have a hospital for the mentally insane.
Yeah.
Oh, prisons are good. You could take your
Hmm.
little money and see what you can pick up. It could be fun. Oh, let us know. I'm dying to know now.
I don't think I have one of those, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're not easy to find anymore.
No, they're not. So you have to go to an antique store for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anything with tape.
Yeah. I even had tapes now that I don't use them, brand new tapes. And I said, I put them on next door or something. And do you want these? And nobody took them. I go, okay, I'll keep them for a while more.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, our VHS kind of went down, so
Yeah.
we, we have no way of watching that anymore. So
No, those are gone too.
it's crazy. It's crazy. We still have a lot of tapes that my husband has that he recorded off the radio and all of that,
Right.
that type of stuff.
I have a taped CD and a tape thing in my car, because
Yeah,
I got a lot of old music on you know.
yeah,
I heard CDs are going out too.
yeah. Well, you have all of this online stuff,
Yeah.
Pandora and Spotify, and
Yeah,
what else is out there? That's YouTube,
I'm
all of
old.
that stuff.
I don't care anymore. But yeah, so I mean, I don't think we should be afraid, but we should be, as I say, I'm not paranoid. I'm not paranoid by when the COVID thing came. I'm not paranoid about things, but I am cautious. And the same thing with the paranormal activity. I don't just walk into anything. but I'm aware and I'm cautious. And if I went to some place and I would tell the producer of the show that I worked with, Ying, I said, "Listen, I'll do the investigations, but I don't want to go someplace where it is well known there are evil entities, or I call them vampire entities that are hanging around." And one time she told me, "No, no, there aren't." I went to a place that was terrible. I was like, "Oh my gosh," because I didn't know that was going to happen. So that was not as pleasant as
Yeah.
I'm a happy medium.
But
So
that's where I want to start out is, going to those so I could get like the experience of like someone touching me and um hearing things being knocked around, things being thrown or something, so I can get used to it and understand that and experience, because I know it's going to like freak the crap out of me when I do it or see it the first
yes,
time. I don't
yes.
want to
And
be
when
by
they
myself.
show up, I don't mind them
Yeah,
showing up mentally because that's how we usually see them. But when they
right.
actually show up, even me, and I'm seasoned on this, I'm like, oh God, oh boy, here
Oh,
they are. Yeah, that's rare. What you described as furniture moving, doors opening, things thrown around is not real common. It really is not common at all. It happens, but it's not a common occurrence. Yeah,
yeah.
you probably won't run into that very much unless for some reason you're attracting it. That's
Okay.
psychonesis, and it's just not common. So
Huh.
don't think of things like, oh well, nothing really happened. The table didn't rattle or things didn't move.
Right.
Seances, seances could be so boring because you're all sitting there. Of course, nowadays, I'm going to do a seance with another medium next week. I haven't done one in a long time. Of course, no, now nobody holds hands, right? Because of COVID, but you try to put your fingers out. Uh, you could sit there for a long time before even a spirit shows up. It
Yeah.
doesn't have not well, not with Annalisa and me. They'll show up right. But I've conducted seances, and it could be you're just sitting there. That's what you're doing. You're sitting there and you're waiting for
Yeah.
spirit to come. And not all spirits want to come back and show up. It's like calling somebody up. My God, texting them, you haven't answered me yet. You haven't answered me yet.
Right.
Well, I don't want to answer you. And that's how
Right.
spirits can be. Like, I'm done. I'm done with this world.
Yeah. I've moved on. Not coming back.
Yeah, I'm up here in the heavens. Why the heck do you want to bring me back to Earth? They usually come in some way. I mean, there's usually some
Yeah.
sort of communication, even if they're coming by to say, "Hey, how are you doing?" And people
Yeah.
all want to know, "Are you suffering? Did you get over this? Did you do this? Did you do that?" And even if the medium begins to tell you that the person's there, and names aren't always easy. Everybody thinks, "Well, you got to tell a name. It's right there." So people
Hmm.
don't quite really understand the how it works and the vibration and how spirits communicate. Yeah, that's why I wrote my
Yeah.
book.
There you
Although,
go.
although I didn't want to write it, that was a client I had met that I stayed in touch with, and he said he contacted me. He says, "My angel said you have to write this book." I says, "No, I don't. Not writing any more books." And so it went back and forth for quite a while before I said, "Well, how about if I just write a few things?" And anyway, he passed away about a year after he told me that. And he was a young
Oh,
man. So,
no.
anyway, as I said, it's not uncommon for spirits to get in touch with you. It happens in the easiest way. Dreams are the best way. They can get through to you in a dream because you're not in a conscious state. You're relaxed. Nature's a great way to feel spirit energy. And it's actually very pleasant, especially when you are missing a loved one, to
I
really
haven't
be.
had it through nature, which is weird because I'm very nature oriented. And as you can tell by my background. Um,
Yeah.
but nature hasn't pulled too much in for me. But, when I'm outside, I do see what we call angel dust, like when it's snowing and it's just looks like little diamond dust coming down out of the sky. I see that, but it's like in a blizzard when
So
I'm
you
outside in the sun.
you're in tune to what we call, well, even the fairies. I mean, I don't see the fairies.
No,
I have a sister that sees them really easy. Um, but I can see energy. We know that nature is all energy. It's
right,
forever talking and moving and interacting. The trees, the water, everything's interacting with each other. You
right.
know, they know they're communicating with each other. And science proves this. Science has absolutely proven how plants interact with each other. They communicate
Yes,
with each other. So,
yes.
it's science is really working at catching up with the med. I always say when they come out with a new thing, I go, "Oh, look, they caught up again. They
Yeah,
finally
yeah,
caught up physics again." I think the hardest
yeah.
thing is what happened in this world. Uh, that superstitious people became superstitious, and so that took away the logic and the
Mhm,
reasoning.
mhm.
I'm talking from the beginning of time, which is really millions of years old. The more that they dig, the more they go, oh, it's older than we thought. Oh, it's older than we thought.
Right. That's because it was.
Because it was.
It
And
is. Yeah.
understand, I mean, really until what? The 1900s, say, uh, phones came in, then radios came in, and then television. So nobody really had all the entertainment and way of communicating that we have now. They
Yeah.
relied upon what was around them. And that's where, unfortunately, some superstitious, of course, it's still superstition now. I mean, all you have to do is turn on the news. Um, that's when it all started, to not really to believe in something that you could not make it reasonable and logical. So it
Yeah.
became, well, that must be the devil. Well, that must be the this. Well, that must be the that. Or, oh, wow, it's raining. It's raining too much. Well, I guess God wants us to be flooded. We're ruined. God's mad at us. I won't go there.
Yeah. It
So
is.
you have
You,
what I'm saying, use some kind of reason.
yeah. You did bring up an interesting point right there where we started off listening to Earth and then we grew out of it and now we're like circling around and coming back to listening again. But we lost that. And when we lost that, we turned it into superstition when it was really happening. It was really the good stuff. And we
Yeah.
just pushed it aside.
Well, that happened
Yeah.
in the 1800s, when we started having factories and people moved out from the country into cities, and it caused a lot of problems. Once you live in the city and life is dirty and gritty, and there were a lot of diseases, and people lost touch with nature, with the natural part of who we are, you
I
know.
can see that.
And yeah, so the
Yeah.
problems started to arise there, and people became so dependent on religion. And I'm not saying religion's bad, so don't anybody start, so I'm going to get in touch with her and tell her how horrible she is to say that. And I'm not. I grew up in a very religious household. I made a choice not to practice that religion. That was my choice.
Mhm.
Um, but people rely on somebody else. Like I said, I did readings for 50 years. And people wanted to rely on me to tell them what they're doing, and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't encourage people to keep coming back. I would say, wait a year or two. And I was busy, and I never advertised. I was busy all the time, word of mouth. We depend on people to tell us what's right and what's wrong.
Mhm.
Once we educate ourselves and have some experiences, we should decide for ourselves if it's useful to our life and useful for other people's lives. Is it healthy? Is it right? So we should learn to decide for ourselves. And unfortunately, people depend on people that are leaders in religion, whether it be a priest or a rabbi or minister, to tell them what is right or wrong.
Mhm.
And so we lose touch. But when you go into places like meditation, or you go into nature, or when you expand, you begin to be conscious of what is uh, reasonable for your life and for the betterment of yourself and others. And that opens up the psychic mind more. By the way, that's where I was going with that. You begin to trust yourself.
Right. And you get more experiences. I notice I'm still trying to kind of figure out when I have the most experiences and whatnots because I don't, I'm not controlled yet. So it just kind of happens. So I'm trying to figure out what am I doing when things just happen? Am I doing something better, like meditations, doing a better meditation, or am I just plain relaxed throughout the day, or am I thinking of it, or just where am I at? That's bringing on these
Well, I think
things,
you just
or is
answered
it
it
just
for yourself.
happening?
You just
What was
answered
that?
it for yourself. You just answered it for yourself. My meditation, when I'm relaxed. I mean, I used to say, and this is funny, in the beginning, when I had my first spirit communication show up, when the spirit showed up, it was always when I was cleaning out the bathroom. It was something about the bathroom and spirit showing up. And that's because it's such a mundane job, you know.
Right.
And I'd have this spirit communication. They just show up. I go, oh, see him in the mirror. See, I go, oh. So you answered it for
Yeah.
yourself. You just answered
Yeah.
it. A lot of times
Yeah.
that's what therapy, right? Psychotherapy is based on that. If they get you to talk long enough, you will answer the right thing for yourself. Do you know that in psychotherapy, it isn't that the therapist is good. There are ones that are you're more okay. It's how it's how the patient or a client wants to heal because they will heal themselves through talk. That's what talk therapy is about. It's pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
It's
And what kind of things do you see in the bathroom? Because I have a bathroom experience. So what kinds of things? Actually, I have two experiences that I've had kind of in the bathroom. So do you say you see them? So they just appear in the bathroom? Or is there like a special way they are appearing?
first times I was over the tub. You have to be down on your knees to scrub up the tub, and so I'm scrubbing it all up, and I felt it. I felt like somebody was behind me. So I
Uh-huh.
jumped up, and it turned out to be a grandfather that had just passed away before we knew he passed away, because
Okay.
he was in Scotland, and so we hadn't got the word yet. And he took my hand and he took me and sat me on the bed. And he says, "Well, don't be afraid." And da da da. And my grandmother was with me. Now, she passed away, and when we left the country, I was already like 6 years old. I really didn't know her. And by now I was a young adult. I was in my mid-20s or whatever. But she was there, and so that was one time. Another time, I was cleaning the mirror, and a spirit of a young man came behind me, and it had been somebody that I knew up in Oregon. I dated for a short period of time, and I didn't know at that time that he had died. He had committed suicide. His mother called me a few days later. So those were two that really stuck out about my my bathroom experiences. What were yours?
Well, I take hot showers. So when I come out of the shower, my mirror is all foggied. And I'll look in the mirror and I'll see like a face in the mirror.
Hmm.
So I will outline what I see in the mirror and then I take a picture of it so I can and I have multiple different faces.
You have
It's almost,
pictures?
yeah, I have
Oh
pictures
man,
of them.
you should have brought them up here. I would love to have seen them.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can share them. I don't share very often, so I don't
Oh, okay.
know
Yeah, I understand.
how
I
to do
do
this,
understand.
but um yeah, I will have to check into that because yeah, I have several pictures. I could send them to you afterwards.
Oh, send them.
Um,
I'm dying to see them.
yeah, so I have different faces. Some of them I have two faces within. One of them they're just like peeking around, so it's like this
Whoa.
camera drives me. like you see only half of the face kind of like peeking over the mirror. Another one is a full face. Another one was like a really skinny neck with a like a um triangular triangular shaped head
Wow.
with antennas because it could have been a mantis. Now that I'm just thinking, it could have been a mantis. Um, but yeah, I've got several different pictures of faces in there. Um, the other one is going back several years. I had a visitation by the Greys. I had 6 Greys in my bedroom. So when we moved in this house, um, I felt one of them at the end of the bed, just felt somebody there. I opened my eyes, nothing's there, but I felt them watching me. The second one was watching my husband. But the third one was in the shower and I felt something behind me. So I turned around instead of turning like more straight around with my eyes. Um, when I turned around, I went down. So I went down to like that 3, 4 foot height.
Wow.
So I believe it was one of the Greys back again, but never saw them on those, just felt them. But the mirrors, I
Safer.
have all these pictures.
Safer. It's safer. And then also you said earlier that you got a picture when you were on a tour.
Yeah.
See that is not usual occurrence in spirit with spirit. So you're experiencing something that is dimensional, that you are actually looking into other dimensional spaces. Well, that's what you do in spirit communication too, but you're actually moving through dimensions, and that might be something that you want to start looking at more in the way of when I go into these dimensional spaces. And that's something that nature provides for us is other dimensional spaces. We're not three. The majority of humanity lives in three-dimensional space. Kind of what I see. It's not, and all you have to do is look at how art has progressed or some of the art. I mean, when I was in Italy and I saw some of the art, you would believe that that material on the person in the art was actually silk or wool or cotton. That's how well the artist was able to paint it.
Right.
So that's another dimensional space. I'm just trying to explain kind of dimensional spaces. People like you and I that have different kinds, we move into other dimensional spaces. And then therefore, you're in a different dimensional space.
So, with that being said, is that where a person would go if they see or encounter a cryptid?
A counter what?
Cryptid, like Bigfoot or any like
Oh, oh.
Mothman or anything like that.
Yeah, that could be absolutely. Absolutely. And then that's why other people can't see it or believe it because they just aren't able to go into that space. Now, it could have happened, it can happen once or twice. It doesn't have to happen all the time. That's why sometimes people say, well, I had the experience one, it never happened again. Some of that is out of your own fear. You kind of make that, you block it. And that's usually what it is. I don't want to do this again. I've had people say, I happened once and I never want it to happen again. Well, then they didn't happen again, you know. So that could be a possibility. I don't know enough about it to tell you my own knowledge of that. Like I don't have any knowledge, enough knowledge or experience to give a definitive answer on that.
Yeah, because I've had 3 experiences like that
So
with the
yeah,
I believe the cryptids. I
well,
can't explain it.
yeah, it's hard to
Um,
explain, but
yeah.
it, then you want to be able to somehow educate yourself in it so that you are aware of more of how and why and when it happens.
And if anybody out there listening to this has this information, contact me. I really want to learn more about this and understand these dimensional
Yeah,
worlds
spaces.
more because it's
Dimensional spaces is actually scientific. It's not woo-woo we kind of people. It's
no,
actually how science works. Alchemy,
right,
you know? And
right.
so it's not unusual for people that are in those fields, mathematicians. I mean, I took algebra in college. I swear to God, I could never figure out why y in 2 equals z3 or something. I'm like, my brain just didn't go there. But I could talk to dead people. So yeah, you'd want to educate yourself in that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
get that answer. Like I said, if there's somebody out there that has that knowledge, not just somebody who says, "Oh yeah, I got it too, and this is why." I just, as I say, as a medium, I have quite a bit of skepticism about me, and I've experienced a lot. I've experienced people that have come for readings that I've told them before they told me that they are not from this planet. And then they just break down and cry because they've been wanting to talk about this to somebody. I had a woman and she was coming for hypnosis and her husband was really like kind of almost done with her. He thought she was crazy. And I picked up that she actually was so connected and reincarnated from a whale that
Oh
she was
my
having a
goodness.
hard time functioning as a human.
As a human,
Yeah.
yes.
And so we gave her a name for the whale and she just really enjoyed our time together. I said, listen, you're on this planet, not everybody's going to understand you. She would go to the ocean, she was longing for the water, but she was human, she couldn't go back into the water like a whale. And that
Right.
was my first experience with that was my very first experience with that. Though I was at a talk and I was invited there because it was a book event. They were talking about my book and spirits. I was answering questions back and forth. And then I turned to this man, I go, like you don't even belong in this planet. You're just a visitor from another side. You're an alien. And his wife slapped him. He says that. I don't believe that. He didn't tell me. I looked right at him, and he was very involved with Mount Shasta here in California. And there's a lot of activity up there,
Mhm.
alien activity up Mount Shasta. Um, and he was just so grateful that somebody saw it
Recognize
and
them.
did not make fun of him.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had some readings that's been pretty crazy. And I, I feel like I do know more about a couple of these people than what they've even still have told me. I just feel like I know who they are. It's almost like I know, but nothing's said,
No, you
so
do
I'm
know.
not saying
So
anything
you
until
do
I,
know. You
yeah, I
know.
do know. I do
You
know.
might
And
you might
some of
want to
it,
think about writing it, journaling. You've heard of automatic writing. I mean, you're
right.
in this kind of realm of the metaphysics. You might be good for automatic writing, letting them talk to you. Or if you have someone that you know that can put you into a hypnotic state. I've done that myself upstate New York. I went one time. I had a friend I went, she led me into it. I already could put myself into it. And her cat came, when I was in her cat, who wouldn't talk to anybody that came in the house, came and sat on me while I was there. And then I was able to channel through um, not of this world entities, talk to her, higher beings. We talked to them.
Right.
That was a very funny thing because I said, why did you pick me? Thinking I was totally so special. And they said, well, you were available. I was like, what? Later, yeah, you were available. I had a near-death experience. I passed away in the ambulance for a short period of time. And they go, okay, she's available. Let's work through her, do some stuff then. I was quite taken aback. It's like, I'm not that special, I'm just available. So it's look at what you're offering. When we have this kind of realizations and understanding, we have to understand them at some level. then we are here to do service. You are doing a service for somebody out there that checks into the Zoom and says, I'm really weird. I get these little grays come in there and I don't know what to do. Now you just did a service by talking about your experience with them.
Yeah,
You're
that's
in
what the
service.
show is about. That's what the show is about, is letting people know, hence my Eugene, that's his name.
Yeah, I see.
Eugene is his name. But that's part of why I do the show, is to let people know they're not crazy. This stuff is out there. It's really out there. And still some of my experiences seem like dreams, like it's not real, but I know these things happened.
They
And
happen.
you can't deny it, but it still feels like a dream, but you can't deny it.
Oh yeah, and you want to feel that uh, you want as much information as possible, and you want to be around people who support it in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you having them? What can you do in this world? How can you share it with somebody in a healthy, positive way? That's how I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I do like to
Right.
entertain myself. But besides that, how can you, and you're doing it, you're sharing it, and that's called in service. You're in service for humanity and for this planet. And it's growing. I was recently asked to come and talk in a group of millenniums. I had to look up exactly what millenniums were. I mean, I knew what they were, but I didn't know. But they are
Right.
advancing. They are advancing more so
Mm-hmm.
than we've advanced in quite a while. They are taking it in and saying, there is something to this ESP. There is something going on, and we can't deny it. And what does it mean, and why am I having that experience? I think that's the most thing we want to do. Why, and when does it happen? When I'm
Yeah.
relaxed.
When I'm relaxed. Yeah. I was smelling my mom again. Was it today? Yesterday? I was smelling my mom.
That's one of the yeah, Claire
It's
Gustos.
like, oh, so
That's
yeah,
the
the gustos.
the ability to smell.
Um, the smell, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the gustos.
yeah,
Yeah, it's there's a story on that. My mom was a heavy smoker, and us kids always tried so hard to get her to stop. Ever since we were little. I mean, when we were old enough to be able to put those poppers in the cigarettes, or blow out her matches or lighter, or put out her cigarette, or soak them in water, whatever. We did everything. um, so she's been around, and she's given me the smoke. And she was around for like 2 months with the smoke. And I was like, oh, I can't stand smoke. I'm just like
yeah. I can't stand
absolutely against smoking in every direction
it
possible.
either.
But I kept smelling it and kept smelling it. And it's like, I don't care if you're around, but give me something different. I can't take the smoke. And then all of a sudden, I took this breath and I felt like I just took a puff. My throat burned and it just like, I about died. And then I suddenly got a headache. And it's like, all right, that's it. No more. I don't care still if you're around, but get rid of the smoke. Give me something different. So my mom was really into sweets. So all of a sudden, I started smelling waffles with maple syrup.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
that's
that's what I
that
was
that's
smelling lately. Like, okay, mom's around.
yeah, so the smoke was to clarify that it was she.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she did. She's letting you know it is her. That's like the proof.
Yeah.
And you communicated with her and you said, Mom, you know what? I know you're here, but I can't do the smoke thing. You got to
Get rid
let
of it.
that go.
Right. Yeah. But she has come back a couple times of, I'm smelling the syrup and everything. And it's like, okay, I could deal with that. That's much better. Thank you.
So you were very strongly connected to your psychic mind. There's the intuitive reaction mind in the brain, scientifically proven with the gut that actually goes up to a part of the brain. I mean, this is science is telling you. And then there is the psychic mind, the mystic mind. Not everybody studies that and understands how it works. So you're really beyond the intuitive mind. You've moved into the psychic mind. There is a bit of a difference.
Good, good. Yay, I'm moving up.
Yes,
Yay.
you're opening up. And the more that you accept and educate yourself, the more comfort. Like a mystic is a person that just knows, you know. I love the tarot, and it was the tarot that I would read for years. And then I got into numerology, tarot, and of course I see aura, so I draw. I used to draw clients. I would draw their aura for them while I talked to them. And after a while, I just didn't need anything. I was just talk to them. And they'd say, "Oh, June, you've got to use the tarot. You've got to do the this. You got." So you get to a point where you just know, not only have you lived long enough, but you're knowing on a great psychic mind. Your mind is working, and you move into what is called the mystic. It's just like knowing, what's right, what's not happening, and you have an open mind. I can't say to somebody, "Oh, you didn't, you didn't experience that." But how do I know? I haven't experienced everything, you know. If
And
it's
even,
damaging to another, if it's damaging to a person or it's damaging another, then we have to really look at it and say, why is this happening?
yeah.
And you can't rely on the medical world. They don't get it and they won't acknowledge it. Most of them, my doctors kind of have to acknowledge it because they know I'm not too nutty. And you know, but they can't because they're scientists.
Mhm.
And if science hasn't said it, they can't say it.
Right. Yeah.
It's an
There's so
interesting world.
much we can change in that world too with all of this, and I'm so excited for that to start integrating with medical is this like the Reiki and all of the
Yeah,
healings and everything that can
absolutely.
happen, bringing it in and instead of having like just a therapy, go more deeper, get into the root of the problem, not just what the person's ego was talking about. Get into the root of it, get into the past life, get into where it started, find out.
That's why people came to me for all those years because their doctors there was not giving it to them. And I had quite a
Mhm.
few clients that would come to me, then go to the therapist, take the recording or the notes, and work with the therapist. And there were some therapists that really agreed with it and did it. I used to read for therapists.
Mm.
They didn't want to tell other therapists they were going to me. So, you know, there is a there is now a group. I have to look the name up again, but where for people that are in grief, long-term grief, people that, grief is a horrible thing. If anybody's gone through grief of someone or if your pet, and
Mhm.
it goes on. And it goes on for a year or two. It really needs to lighten up. It doesn't go away because grief just doesn't leave. It's like
No,
there, it becomes part of you. But it lightens up. Your mother, you grieved at first, heavy, and then you begin to lighten up a little, where you can think about her and talk about her. But in the beginning, talking about her would have been hard. So there is a group, long-term grief, that now accept, as psychotherapists that are accepting that we can communicate with spirit to help heal the grief. If you had
yes,
done that 10 years ago, I'm going to tell you, I know about this. I absolutely have experienced this and know it. They would not believe it.
no.
Like, well, that's nice that you think you're talking to your mother. But anyway, let's be real. How do you feel about that?
Right.
I don't like to smoke. That's how I feel. I had this long-term
Yeah.
relationship with a man. And he had a son that was schizophrenic. And the son came to live with us for a short time. Uh, and I would feel the son at the bedside and standing there, but he was not there. And in the morning, I would say to him, I don't like you coming into my room. He didn't physically come into my room. He would tell me what I was dreaming. He was schizophrenic.
Wow.
And so he and I would have talks, and I would talk to him in the way that I understood his what he was experiencing. Uh, a psychic mind person can appear to be like a somewhat schizophrenic person because they're having other kind of experiences and realities that three-dimensional humans are not having. We talked about dimension. It all has to do with how does it affect your life and how does it affect uh, those around you. Schizophrenics have no control over it, so their lives are greatly affected. But
I was
some of
going
the
to
stuff,
ask you, yeah, how does that relate with spirit? Because I've always wondered about like SIDS and dementia, or not dementia, but schizophrenic and
Alzheimer's,
multipolar personalities and things like that.
schizophrenia.
How does this bring it all together as a spiritual um connection? Is there a spiritual connection? Is there a way that these people are just overly sensitive that they're just picking up on everything?
Yes. Yeah, they have no
Yeah.
filter. We have filters. If you think of Medusa, and Medusa has all kinds of, remember she had all kinds of connections, like, and what happens, I talked to a homeopathic doctor about this, naturopathic. And so we have filters like caps on some of it. We can't know everything. And that's what we say insane people do. They have no filter. They are seeing and experiencing everything. And you can imagine the chaos it causes in their brain, in their mentally, and their physical bodies. People that have these so-called illnesses, schizophrenia, schizoid, bipolar, they physically deteriorate. They forget to eat. They don't sleep right. There's a lot of things that happen to them physically. They wear down. That's why they commit, some of them, end up committing suicide. You can't take it anymore.
So is there a way that we can put like in in some sort of session that we can put like a shield around them so they're not fully available for all of that?
If you're asking, can we save them? There was a doctor, and because when the schizophrenic young man was living with me, I did as much research as I could. And this is before you had all the web and everything. But I did a lot. And there was a doctor, and I don't recall his name, and he's probably not still alive right now. But and then what he was doing is he had way out in the country. He had a like a home of a farm, and he had people schizophrenics there, and they did better out there. But they still had these experiences, but it slowed them down. What they do now, of course, they give them drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame the medical world. I don't think there's a. I went to visit him a few times in a mental hospital. It was terrible. It's like a lockdown. You go behind a gate, comes out in the dark, gets you. You go to the next room. It was not pleasant at all. And still the way they're unfortunately are cared for is damaging to them too. I don't really have a lot of answers for that because it's a very difficult and sad situation. But he did do well with the schizophrenics that were living on his farm did better out there in nature with a routine. They had less trauma. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, your little light just lit up saying, I like that.
My Eugene it back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've wondered about that for a while now, about different um I don't know if you call it diseases or what, but I just feel like there's so much more involved in that that we don't know about, that
Right.
we can actually save them and have help them to bring it under control instead of being so like too open, like kind of close it up or put a shield, help them put a shield up and protect them in some sort of
Yeah.
way so that not so much is bombarding them all the time.
Yeah, I saw a program one time on public television, and they were talking to a schizophrenic, and he said it's like being in a room with about 100 televisions all on their own channel. Maybe it was 50 or 100. Anyway,
A lot.
numerous
Yeah.
televisions on their own channel, and all of them are coming. And that made sense to me, from what then as I got to older and experienced different people. I have schizophrenics that would come to me for readings, and I said to them, I'm really sorry if you're not, when they're not on their medicine, it's just too hard to read. I've told them bipolar, schizophrenia is too hard to read because you're all over the place. Then that means my psychic mind went all over the place. I
Right. Because
you
you're
gotta
trying to read all of those different
you gotta
personalities.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But there's a couple people out there on YouTube that record their episodes.
Okay.
They're very open about their schizophrenics, and they talk about it when they're on the calm. They're out there recording and talking about it, and they have video of them going through one, and
Yeah.
they're showing people and being very open to other people. This is what I'm going through. This is what it's about. I'm very
Sad.
proud of them to be able to do that and to put themselves into this situation and educate people on what happens.
Well, the quote is the mystics and the madman swim in the same waters.
We do.
Uh, um, I remember when I went with him to the hospital, he was taken in because he had a breakdown in his high school. And I had already told my friend, the boyfriend, I said, you know what? He needs a lot of help. He's like, oh, no, he needs a good, get your stuff together. I go, no, 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 he's beyond that. He's beyond that. And so the doctor said, well, he hears a voice. The doctor was rather pompous. I go, well, I hear voices and see things. And he goes, oh, all right. Well, then you must be, also need medicine. That's what I'm talking about. It's hard. And everybody's an individual. I know that the medical world, I would say they believe they're doing the best they can. And I think that for some, they really, truly are doing the best they can. I'm not opposed to them. Um, I don't have an answer. I don't know what I would do if it were somebody like a child to me, what would happen? Because I've seen what happens. I've seen what happens when they just are off their medicines and their life crumbles and everybody around them crumbles with them.
Yeah. It's a sad situation, but I feel like there's just something out there that we can help them.
Well,
We can help them.
different. Yes. Yes. And they're doing more brain, they're advancing very quickly in how the brain works.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing those testing and everything on psychics and mediums and how their brain
Oh
works
yeah, they've
and
been using that
everything.
for
So
a long
yeah.
time. They've been using it. Russia's using it since the 50s. There's a book out by two women that talked about how much the government, actually CIA, they use psychics all the time, especially remote viewing. I
Yeah.
mean, this is a well-known fact. This isn't something made up. This is a truth. There's information books out there about Stargate and why it worked and how they use it, and they don't want you to know that they're doing all this.
Right.
And so it is working. Some of the psychic people that were involved with it ended up really having a lot of problems in their life because how it was being used. It's being used by governments.
Yeah.
And you tried to bring this up before and talk about this, that people would say, oh, conspiracy. It's not. It's been documented. It's out there. All you have to do is start researching it. How are the governments? What books are out there? What kind of facts are coming up? I think that if people paid more attention, more to what facts are out there and how do what are the basis of their facts? Where did they get it? What is it doing? I like to look at all of this. I want to know more, but I want to know more not on a superstitious way. I want to know more of what's being done.
Yeah.
I already believe it.
Yeah. We like already know, but we
I,
want
I, I
the
talked to a
backup
bunch
for
of
it.
scientists. I was invited to come a couple of times and talk where it was all engineers and scientists and they were real open. They were not, closed-minded at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's
That's
it's out
awesome.
there.
Yeah, it is out there. Ooh, well, we could talk forever and ever, I think, with this. Because I know we still have some things that we haven't spoke about with you. So, I would like to have you back on the show and kind of continue some of our talks and
Yeah.
everything.
Thank
So,
you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I really appreciate your time and being with us tonight. And it's been a
Yeah.
great joy
So
having you.
you could just put my, if anybody wants to see more about me, you can, I'm on YouTube, June Ahern author, or my website, juneahern.com. I keep it simple because I'm a simple person. Yeah. And they could find out more of what I might have to share with them if it has an interest.
Yeah, and I'll put all of our information down in the notes below, so you can always check into that and look
I
at
look
that.
forward-
So,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being with us tonight. Yeah. And if anyone else out there has any stories you would like to share, email me, lighttalk423@gmail.com. And we will talk with everybody next time. All right. Bye.